how would you like to make the first million? And today we have Jordan Robertson joining from Canada, and she is a naturopathic doctor, researcher, and serial entrepreneur who turned a frustration with outdated, fragmented clinical resources into a multi-million dollar movement. As a founder and CEO of the Confident Clinician Club, a groundbreaking evidence-based clinical decision support platform helped thousands of integrative doctors. Wow, that's very impressive. Transform the practice, the confidence, and the patient outcomes. So, Jordan, tell us, what are the 5 steps that you recommend entrepreneurs in order to make the first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Yeah, it's a great question. And actually reflecting back on what that journey was, like there were these like very clear steps that we went through. I mean, I think the first one, and I don't want to make it sound so obvious, but you need to be able to solve a problem that actually needs to be solved, right? If your problem is a nice to have, it's really hard to, crack into the market. It has to be something that is a massive need in your audience so that they lap up the solution and they don't see it as a luxury item to be used, especially in a B2B. So we're a B2B company. Businesses are often not looking at luxury items to add to their expenses. They are only investing in things they need. So the first thing is that the problem actually is something that needs to be solved. And one of our big steps to success was how long we worked towards building authority in our audience before we even launched the product. I knew that I needed the trust and I needed the authority in my industry for doctors to adopt our novel solution by the time it was launched. So we actually spent upwards of a year while I was working in my other role, while I was building the tech platform. We spent almost a year growing in authority and supporting practitioners in their day-to-day work. So by the time we released the product, they believed in us. The trust economy, especially in healthcare solutions, is really important. We needed to have the trust of our audience before we released the product versus landing on their doorstep. And I think I've seen this in other solutions where the very first time they're knocking on your door is to try and sell you their product. We actually spent a year nurturing our audience before we released the product. So by the time it landed on their doorstep, they were ready to buy. We also operated our first couple of years very lean. So we actually hit our first million with just a 2-person team. And I think this was a really important part of our growth.
Impressive. Wow, you beat me.
It allowed us to grow in the capital that we needed to get to our second million, but we did it in such a lean way at the beginning. We didn't buy resources we didn't need. We didn't invest in solutions that we didn't need as a business in the beginning because we wanted to build the capital and traction that we could invest in future opportunities without requiring funding or investors. So we got to that first million with like a very lean machine. I actually started our product on, I joke, it was a $20 WordPress website. And so everything about the business was incredibly lean at the beginning. And only when we developed like a significant amount of traction and capital did we start to invest in more polished options or more personnel on our team. So that was a real strategy that we used at the beginning because we wanted to make sure that we could self-fund the entire project and we didn't want to get in over our heads before we knew how successful the product was going to be. My number 4, and we can come back to any of these if they're.
Definitely we will.
My two-person team. We got to dive in on that. But number four for us was actually to keep our current customers really satisfied and happy. We run on a recurring revenue model, and so it wasn't good enough for us to just chase new business all the time without ensuring that our current customers were super happy and that they would never leave. So in our first couple of years of business, we had like a less than 4% attrition rate in our new members. Once they joined, they stayed with us for multiple years. And that really helped support us get to that first million because it meant that we weren't just chasing new business all the time. And it meant that we had some recurring revenue that we could actually count on from year to year. So that was number four. That was the thing that like really made a big difference as we invested as much in our current customer base as we did to our future customer base. And then number five for me, like I grew this business while I was a practicing doctor. Number five has to be when I decided to go all in on the project and I left my clinical practice to pursue this full time. We truthfully had hit a million before I left my clinical practice, but we were going to hit a ceiling of
Wow.
ability before I wanted to, right? We were going to hit a ceiling if I didn't become the full-time employee, full-time CEO, full-time founder in that business. And so I left my clinical practice to pursue this full time. And that was like one of the, sort of final steps that we took to grow to be the business that we are today.
Become a multimillionaire in tech is easy. I think that one out of five entrepreneurs, Jordan, that we already interviewed 500 millionaires in this broadcast, and one out of five are tech entrepreneurs. And people might think that become a millionaire in tech is easy, especially your space health tech. Okay, so can you share with us the good, the bad, and the ugly of the tech? Because this process that you describe is amazing. That you grow this tech business, very lean, very conscious about budget. Because we have stories, a lot of tech entrepreneurs come to me to help them to find funding for them, and what they come is with completely different story than yours. This is the story they come. They don't create an MVP. This was minimum viable product. They remove the M and they create a big elephant. And they borrow a lot of money from family, friends, remortgage the house, create this huge platform software that is gonna make the world a better place. They don't know who will buy that. They don't know what form the clients want to buy that tech. And then they already develop an elephant so big. And then it come to me, Harry, we need funding to sell the elephant. And I said, look, what do you think? What are gonna tell them to the VCs, right? Do you think the VCs are stupid, right? Whether you, Jordan, the journey that you describe as a tech entrepreneur is, I mean, I'm listening to you and I'm giving you 10 out of 10. Yeah. That's fantastic. So how do you learn to do it like this? Because I'm telling you, because I'm on the space helping a lot of people, 80% of the tech entrepreneurs, they do 360 the approach that you do, including they quit the job. Look at you, you kept your job. That's 10 out of 10. You kept your job while your business, building your business on the side. And until that business don't give you signs that is solid enough, then you quit. This is very wise. Yes. I did this when I want to be my first business. It was in property. We managed to save 5 million. I also did that. I was working, building my business. When the business got substantial that I could make in one day what I was making in my job, what I'm making a month, that's the day that I quit 18 years ago. So tell us, Jordan, where do you learn to be such a good entrepreneur?
I think so. Naturopathic doctors in Canada are not. So when we open our
And
medical,
doctors even worse. I never
yeah,
hear about doctor to
true.
be a good
So
entrepreneur. It's
true.
completely different. So how you learn? Tell us.
Well, naturopathic doctors in Canada are really not eligible for funding. And so it's funny because it's part of those good decisions were possibly because I didn't actually think there was
Oh
another
wow,
option,
that's very interesting.
right?
Very good.
Because
The
I
best
could,
favor they did for you
that's
was
right.
this one.
They totally did me a favor because I couldn't go to the bank and say, hey, I have a cool idea, right? I would have never got the money. So if I had to project it as if I was going to bootstrap the company, that was how we sort of built the whole thing from the beginning was if no one ever gave me a dollar, how was it going to work out, right? So part of it came from that at the beginning. I also I'm very risk tolerant in some areas. I'm very risk tolerant. I believe in my own ideas. I'm willing to bet on myself. I'm willing to take risks, but I don't take a lot of risks on other people. And when we look at tech and we look at people's behavior, I mean, all you have to do is heat map a website to realize how chaotic people are when they use tech, right? Like the button could be right in the middle with flashing arrows and people are clicking like way up over here.
Absolutely.
Website. It's maddening watching people try and use your tech because they're clicking everywhere and then we're trying to make sure that that person has a good user experience and that they stay as a customer to me felt very volatile. I'm like, if they can't even find the calendar or how to download the resources, how on earth can I count on them as being a recurring customer? I can't.
100%.
So those two things, like I never thought was going to give me a dollar, and I was always a little worried that people were going to churn out of our system because controlling their behavior and controlling their experience in tech is very challenging.
Mm-hmm.
And so it kept me very risk adverse in certain aspects of our business where I really believed in my idea, but I wasn't going to bet my house on people staying and buying more
Mm-hmm.
and what have
Mm-hmm.
you. So I kept a lot of reserve so that we could be sure that the idea was going to work out and we could be sure that I wasn't going to endanger the company through bad investments or bad risk taking. So,
So
that
it's
was
easy to become a
why we did it.
millionaire. It's easy to become a millionaire in tech, good, bad, and the ugly. For our listeners, yeah, because we don't want to
No,
give them
I
the wrong
think it's
impression.
like I feel like it's hard. Our price point on our product is maybe medium. So our price point is approximately $1,500 a year. I see so many tech companies where their product is $9 and I'm like, how are you guys doing this? I don't understand
So
how.
expensive to acquire the client, right?
Totally. Like you wouldn't make back the investment on your client for 8 months and you have to make sure they're clicking the right buttons and they're happy and your billing statement doesn't happen on the same day as their mortgage renewal because otherwise they'll quit. Like there's so many things you can't control. For us, we've always had an annual membership. So we actually have our acquisition payback period is only 1 day once people join, which has really helped us develop capital and cash flow in the business. But also, we have a medium price point. So, even though it does take us a bit to encourage someone to purchase, that like large investment right up front for them means that we have the capital to actually
Mm-hmm.
keep investing in
Mm-hmm.
advertising and
And
doing the
your
things.
space, in your space, this amount is affordable for everyone.
Yeah,
It's
in our experience, yeah. Like
yeah,
it
yeah, and on the space, in the doctors,
totally.
in the med tech, this is a good price that everybody can afford, but also give you room to operate. So yeah, good things about tech. They are scalable, like you just shared, right? My when I hit my first million, I have 5 employees. You have two. You beat me. So tech is very scalable. So that's a good thing, yeah. But this journey about getting to product market fit, these 2 years that you are launching the product, and then you have it in the website, and then you don't know. You need to figure out the price, and you need to figure out the proposition. What actually the market wanna buy. For example, someone I think was from Canada in this podcast came once and told me, Harry, this was in the 80s, a tech entrepreneur. I'm almost 100% sure it was from Canada. He came here and told me, Harry, I developed in the 80s something that looks like a mobile phone, really big, that target the times for people to work. So it's amazing because you go to work and you can check how long it's taking you all the task. And he developed this device. It looks like a mobile phone, and his idea is to sell it to everybody like a phone to all the employees, so employees can track their job and become more productive at work, so they can be more employable, right? They have proof that they are performing well. You know what happened? Guess this is how he saw that people will buy his invention. Long story short, you know who bought the invention? It was not the people, the employees. They didn't care about the product. It was not even the CEOs bought the product for the employees. No, the business was, the product market fit was that the CEO wants to lease the device as a service for their employees for a couple of months, recoup all the data, and that data is what they were able, that was they were willing to pay for. That's what they are happy to pay for. Nothing to do with the device. So the device, he never could sell any single device to any employees, and never could sell any single device, not even to the CEOs. What they wanted is, okay, do you have 200 devices? Do you have 500 devices? Okay, lease them to me for 2 months, pick out all the data, put it in a database. How much? I'm happy to pay you some money for that database, for that information. So the journey of product market fit, I'm thinking that even your journey could be kind of similar. So you started at the beginning, okay, this is what this product is I gonna develop and how much I'm gonna sell it. But so far, none of the 500 millionaires we interview here, they haven't arrived, and yet, Harry, you won't believe, I designed the product exactly like this. I put the price, and people bought it straight away. So tell us about your journey, your journey about product market fit, so people listening to us can know, number one, tech have a high a failure rate. Okay, it's a hard journey, a very frustrated, we can call it. Get to product market fit. Sometimes could be take a year, could take 2 years. I don't think that it's very difficult to get that done in 6 months. So tell us about this process, John, of product market fit. What advice do you have for tech entrepreneurs listening to us?
Well, I don't want to claim that I actually know everything about this, because I feel like, and this has been one of our challenges for sure, is you can go to bed and wake up the next day and ChatGPT can do things that it couldn't do yesterday, right? So I think one of the challenges that we face in tech is like how volatile the entire system and market can be. And then on the other side, sometimes a tech founder is creating a tech solution for something that customers don't realize tech could be used for. And so now it's like your customers are not super problem aware, because they didn't even think that technology could help them do the thing that you're going to try and help them to do, which is part of our problem, actually, is our doctors have been trained that the answers for their patients are all in their head, or that they need to do the work and research themselves. Our tech solution eliminates that work for them, but they've never had that before. So they don't even know that that's a possibility. So the amount of education it takes to teach people that tech is a solution
It's
is
expensive.
significant and expensive. Yeah. And then people are worried about their own behavior. So they are worried they won't use it, or they're worried that it's be hard, or they're worried that it's, there's another option out there that's cheaper. We're not usually losing to a competitor. We're losing to indecision, right? Where people just wait and they don't, I'll maybe next week, maybe next month, maybe next year, right? I'll invest in tech. So it's hard to create the like urgency, scarcity, and some of the same things we tend to rely on to grow as companies. It's hard to do that with tech, in my opinion. Like that's one of the things we've faced, is that until there's a pricing increase or a limited time offer or some reason that people are going to lose if they don't act, they will happily go along wasting time and not using technology and never have the impetus to buy. That's been a challenge for us, right? Is like, how do we convince people today's the day, right? That they can use tech to solve some of their problems. But also just the constantly changing market, I think, has been a challenge for us. Where we're, benefiting right now is that we bridge technology and people. And so we use technology to help our doctors access other doctors. And so they're getting support in their practice, they're getting community, they're getting, where they're getting answers to their business questions, even for their practice. they're getting it from other doctors, but using our technology. So as ChatGPT and some of these overnight tech sensations keep stealing all of our tech jobs, we still have a massive human component to our work. We just use technology to leverage those people. So we've been safe thus far until the computers replace all the humans. I think we're going to be
Yeah.
but that's how we've sort of created that leverage, is that there's still a big
Mm.
human component. So they don't only have to trust the tech, they are using the tech
Mhm.
to access the people.
Yeah, I think as soon as you combine the tech with the real world, right? Because at the end of the day, we are human beings and we are people, and you're always gonna be safe if this is what you do. You can combine the tech world with the real world with someone in the. If you know, if they can have the community, they through through that framework, they find specialized answers, and they can grow as a community. This is completely different scenario, and you will have a business forever because people are not buying. People are buying more than in the tech. They're buying in that framework, that community, in that what we call empowerment context, with they all help each other, and especially in that field, is so important. Can actually save um, humans' lives. So I don't think that doctors will ask ChatGPT what to do. It's good, but but not to that point. Better to ask to fellow doctors, right? That have previous experience. Yeah, I think that we get more accurate answers. So well done. I'm very impressed. Jordan, what have you developed? And all of a sudden, you are in the health tech space. Uh, it's in a space that when you have a business where you are right now, right? When you have a subscription models and cash flow, and in the tech space, now all of a sudden you should have all the VCs specialized in health tech. I know a few of them. They should be begging you to invest. So tell about this. What is the sustainable plan for growth that you have for your company? Yeah, and and how you gonna make sure exactly you say that right, that tech is very volatile, can uh, I won't say can go to zero overnight, but competitor can very quickly can be a change of technology, and then your what you created can be outdated. Yeah, so but a new way of protecting that is the more you linked in with the real world and stay wet, because software could be better or worse, but that community, that sense of belonging that the members have, this is something that no technology can outlast, because it's granted in the sense of the consumer's feeling and about the empowerment content. So tell us about what in terms of growing, yeah, what you guys have in mind, and what advice do you have for tech entrepreneur? I think you telling me, Harry, I'm not a tech entrepreneur, I just do this by tech. Well, let me tell you, you're doing so well that I can tell you that you can advise easy to any tech company, because what I hear about what they do freaks me out compared with what I'm hearing from you. So if somebody's in tech, in health tech, they should be talking to you, yeah, before they do something. This I can tell you for sure. So what is your plans for growth? Are you looking
Yeah.
for funding? You gonna keep bootstrapping? You told me, okay, what are the biggest risks that you're facing? Okay, so
Mhm.
what ideas can you put in place in order to involve more to the real world, so the business get more foundation? Tell us a bit
Mhm.
more.
Yeah, well, interestingly, we've had a significant amount of success just capturing a fraction of our available market. So there are probably 20 or more thousand naturopathic doctors in North America, and then numerous medical doctors who
Wow.
practice more integrative medicine or functional medicine that are not currently in our ecosystem. So the success we've had in this sort of hyper niche is still an untapped market. And so our growth goals is, I mean, our pie in the sky goal is that we are on the desktop of every naturopathic doctor in North America. We are the practice resource. They are opening every morning when they log in to take care of their patients. That's our ultimate goal because it means that the patients are actually receiving better care. Like the doctors that are in our system and using our work are providing a higher level of care to their patients than practitioners that are going it alone and don't have this level of support. So when I think about our growth goals, it's also to elevate the profession itself so that it's legitimate, so that patients have safe and effective care with the practitioner that they're working with. So our growth goals over the next year is really to ramp up our exposure and sales, to get on stages, be part of conversations that are about supporting doctors in their work every day. And then certainly there's lots of opportunity for the API for our tech to plug into health adjacent or tech adjacent products that we're going to explore over the next 24 months. There's been a big conversation in healthcare tech around things like AI scribes and solutions that help doctors be more efficient in their note taking, etc. We are right now one of the only solutions that help them decide what to do with their patient. So most tech companies are focusing on how to make efficient parts of the patient work that are before clinical decision making, and we support clinical decision making, which is the last step of patient care. And so looking for other opportunities or other companies that have this aligned audience or aligned tech where our API could be part of their tech solution and part of their offer to their audience would be that next step. How do we blow the doors off of our exposure and business? That's probably where it lives.
And then, Jordan, women in tech. This is something that is a male-dominated space, and women in technology, they unfortunately they receive way less funding than men, big time. Yeah, I interviewed the Minister of Finance of Zimbabwe like a year ago, and he told me, Harry, look, we have an amazing program. We are lending money to the farmers in there, and the farmers are getting buying seeds and growing tomatoes, vegetables. They selling these, they paying back the loans. They come back for another loans and everything. And he told me, Harry, you know what? This is the news. 80% of the women, or the high percentage of women, are paying back the loans better than men. So they told me, as Minister of Finance, we're very happy to lend to women. So why, if because of course they are children and they are more conscious about the risk, something that you describe. So women are very investable, especially if they're doing something in tech. So why do you think that out there there is so much struggle for women in tech to find funding? What do you think is the problem, and what can we do about it?
Yeah, I'm curious about the numbers of female founders in tech and if that is
Oh, I
still
can
a
tell you, so low, they're less than 5% they find funding.
So I went to a tech conference in North America recently, and it was the first time in my life that I didn't have to line up to use the bathroom, and also the first time in my life that there was a line
Wow,
in the hall for the male bathroom. And the three female founders that were there,
there you
the three
go.
of us all went
Very
in
male
and used the
dominated.
stall, and we watched them line up for 20 minutes to use the bathroom. And we talked about it. We said this is like, the very first time that we feel, especially in health and healthcare, where there does tend to be, a great representation for female physicians and female practitioners. And even in lots of industries, my industry specifically is dominated by female practitioners. And yet, when we start to like move up the ranks of founders and presidents and people that are running the associations, it's less and less and less female representation as we move up that line. So do I know the root of it? I mean, I'm sure it's the same as we see across multiple industries where women are maybe taking career breaks. Women maybe have different paths that they take in their careers that don't set them up for opportunities because of child rearing and other things that still tend to be more female dominated roles, especially depending on which country you live in. And I think women just take up a small fraction of healthcare founders or tech founders. And so when we look at like funds being distributed, we're still getting less than we would expect. But I love that story that those women pay back their loans because I would say
Way
that like
better than men.
about feminine leadership that would help you pay back your loans in such a reliable way. I love that story.
I think that the one of the problems could be that those venture capitalists managing this funding, they are also all male dominated, and they feel maybe more comfortable lending to men. But in my opinion, they're missing a huge opportunity. My all my employees. Do you remember the story that we reached our 5 million, our first million with few employees? They were all female. So they are amazing as employees and also as founders. And I think that those funds are missing out big time. That's my personal opinion. And if they put a lot of more trust in women entrepreneurs, they will be shocked of what the result of the investment, especially in tech, right? Which is something that you have to be very consistent and persevere and try and try and try until actually works. So you became an entrepreneur by accident, and out of the 500 millionaires we have interviewed so far, most of the stories are like that, right? You're doing your job, but then you have something within yourself. We all entrepreneurs, we have something, a gene that come with us, that even if we're employees, we are thinking, no, one day if I have a chance, I gonna do this and I'm gonna do my business. And I didn't know what I want to do, but every job that I landed, I was thinking, oh, if I was a waiter it was in a pub, I was thinking, oh, one day I'm gonna have my own pub or my own restaurant, and I actually have my own restaurant once. It was a big disaster, another story. But every job that I landed, I'm thinking, oh, one day I'm gonna have my own pub, or I'm gonna have my own this and my own that, right? So we always have that gene. But what actually happened? Um, uh, in my case, for example, uh, my dad had cancer, and I couldn't see him. I didn't need the money, so I have this this push to say, you know what, that's it. This job is not working for me anymore because I cannot see the people I love. I'm gonna start to do the business so I can make more and so on. And that's when I started 18 years ago. So when was the moment, yeah, that you decided um, to become an entrepreneur? That not necessarily when you quit your job, yeah, because one thing is, because I said, okay, I'm gonna have my business, but back then I remember I was working and building my business at the same time, because that's I think is more safe way to do things. So, but what happened that you took the decision? You know what? I going to start on the side my own business, and let's see what happened. Anything happen? Somebody told you something? You read a book? You you saw something in TV? A friend told you? Anything that actually triggered that thing that you said, "That's it. I cannot take it anymore. I'm doing my own thing." So how this happened?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, when I was in university, I was so lucky that I was part of a program that at the time was an experiment. So, I went to McMaster University in Hamilton. It's renowned for their health and medical programs. And as an experiment, they ran an undergraduate health sciences program that was actually focused on becoming a better critical thinker. It wasn't about memorizing facts for science or facts in medicine. It was to train you to be, I would say, like a diagonal thinker or someone who was able to critically appraise data and information and also ask great questions to come up with unique, novel, and innovative solutions. That was my undergraduate, and my the dean at that time became my absolute mentor and hero. He didn't put up with bullshit. He didn't put up with rules that made no sense, and he made us question everything. And that really
Wow. Wow.
seed at
Very
that time when
powerful.
I was only 21 that we could make things the way we wanted them to be. We were able to question authority, the way things had always been done. I slogged through my postgraduate school, to be honest, where it was very, old school, very didactic learning.
Follow the rules.
It was hard. It was a lot of rules. And while I was there, I was like bursting at the seams. I sat on every committee as a student to try to get them to change their ways. I had all sorts of ideas,
And you couldn't
which
move
of course
anything,
they
yeah.
wouldn't listen to me. Yeah, I was just a student. So of course they wouldn't listen to me. But when I graduated, I went back and taught for McMaster. I taught in that same program communication, conflict resolution, thinking, like literally, how do we think through problem solving? And I think I became unemployable at that moment because that's where you
Wow, welcome
realize,
to the club of the
unless
unemployable people.
critically
We have a big club,
unemployable.
every guest in this podcast. Yeah.
That's right. I know if you needed a tagline for your podcast, it's like the unemployable. But it's really because what we realize is that like progress and innovation and pivoting and speed are things that are generally rewarded, especially in business. And so many organizations are stuck in rules and, outdated ideas. It takes an entire committee of people to make a decision. That's really not the life for me. And so when I was in my early 20s, I realized that it was not possible for me to work a regular job. Like I just would have died. So even owning my own practice, I was an entrepreneur. So that other job I had before
Exactly.
this company was still my own business. So I've never had a regular job, actually. I've never been employed.
Wow. Wow. That's very impressive. Yeah, we're very proud. Here in this podcast, we're rooting for you. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
exactly.
So, yeah, this podcast is for entrepreneurs and just designed for this because when I started, I knew a lot of people told me, Harry, you're gonna have millions of followers. I told them, I doubt. I strongly doubt because we are 2% of the population and it's specific for entrepreneurs. We are like a rare species, and on top of that, as you say, we are literally unemployable. So we have to survive whatever it takes. So, but we are not that many. However, without our society doesn't function because we create jobs, we employ the people, and if we have a very good mindset, we can make a great advance in society. Now, in terms of technology, um, if you see the car 100 years ago or 120 years ago and the cars now, um, wow, you see a big progress, right? And with the medtech, okay, um, the progress that we see with the use of technology has been amazing. Compare again, if you see the last 100 years, how doctors and physicians operates and the tools and what they have right now in terms of technology to help them to make the job better. Uh, the the big input that technology is bringing to society in order for all of us globally has a better healthcare is unbelievable, and we should be grateful for technology because doctors can actually exactly communicate themselves. Even this framework that you develop, I think, is amazing, right? And the more people that join, the bigger that framework become, where professionals can share their opinion, and it's a lot of technical knowledge applied to this. But you are a physician, a doctor, right? That use embracing technology in order to deliver more value to the patient, right? And against that, a lot of people say, well, this AI, this technology is taking is leaving a lot of people without job. I think that if you're a doctor, if you're a teacher, if you are any profession and you embrace technology, you're always gonna have work because those companies are those ones that are gonna stay alive. Unfortunately, if the companies today, even if it's in health, in other industry, they don't embrace tech, it's not gonna be job for anybody because the company is going to collapse. So, what advice do you have, or what message do you have for your fellow doctors or professionals in the health space that still they are resisting the use of technology? They are old school. They want to follow the rules. They want to keep learning from those books and from the way that they have been trained. But in the last 10 years, with the well, we're in the technology era. Everything is moving so fast that even you can be a master, a PhD, and you could be even outdated if you're not embracing technology. You can be left behind, even if you have a great you are a great doctor with a lot of experience. So, what message do you have for not only for physicians but for people in general about embracing tech?
Well, I think the parts of our jobs that we love are the parts that are not going to be replaced by tech.
Absolutely.
Right? And generally, especially in healthcare, when we look at the regulations and what's required for compliance these days, right? Like a lot has changed in the last 20 years in terms of what is expected of doctors to do to comply, to stay up to date, to stay relevant, to stay current. And that those tasks and those start to crowd out the reasons why someone got into medicine in the first place, right? I used to joke if someone would say, should I become a doctor? I'm like, well, do you like paperwork, right? Like that's what we do. Like it's not the patient part. Like that's a fraction of what
Do
you
you like
actually
paperwork?
do. Yeah. Do you like paperwork? Do you like checking boxes and filling out forms? Like, because that's kind of what we do. And technology has this potential to replace or speed up or make more efficient or more accurate the parts of our jobs we don't like. And that leaves behind the magic, right? Like we have a whole webinar series we do for doctors called The Magic is in the Visit. And we're an evidence-based company, right? We're not saying that we're doing magical things to make people well. What we're saying is the special parts about medicine and in most businesses is the human to human interaction. And we actually get to buy back some of that space, capacity, time if we use technology for the other parts of our work. Most doctors, as their patient is talking to them, are thinking through, like 900 open tabs in their brain on what to do with the patient. What should I test? What should I do? Oh, I'm going to have to write a letter. Oh, they're going to need these insurance forms. Rather than listening to the actual patient's story, right? Because you have so much to do in such a short window of time, you spend most of your visit thinking about what you're going to have to do rather than being with the person that you're with. Technology replaces that part of your job and allows you to sit fully present, fully, in the moment with your patient. And I think the doctors that embrace that and actually let that be reflected in their patient care are the ones that will always have work, because patients will flock to doctors who make people feel the way you can make people feel if you're truly listening to them. And then you let AI do all your paperwork in the back end, right? Like, I think that's really going to be quite a beautiful thing for healthcare. We hopefully will have less errors. We hopefully will have less doctor or physician burnout. And we hopefully restore that doctor patient feeling and interaction that we had 100 years ago, when your doctor didn't have to take any notes when they were with you. And so I do think that there's so much potential here if we can let technology do the parts of our job that we don't like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we definitely technology. We can come back to those days that the doctor have a conversation and the whole thing gets filling up by itself. That would be amazing for you guys, right?
Yeah,
That would
we'd
be
like our
brilliant.
job so much better if that's like, to us why we all got into it in the first
It's actually
place.
positive. It's
Yeah,
possible right now with technology to do this kind of things. And then exactly you come back to the more the part that you really like and you do, and the only part that you can do, because
right.
paperwork any can do, software can do, machine can do, but to make the assessment and and to take a decision about how to improve, how to get well as human to human is key. And I don't think that even as any software will be able ever to replace that, because when that decision have been need to be taken by highly trained uh, people like you that went to university and have a lot of knowledge, right? And experience, and also it's a skill. The more you practice, better you become. So it's also a skill based. So Jordan, if we have a female entrepreneur, tech entrepreneur that want to know more about you, also small doctors that want to join your platform. If anybody want to know more about you, about your company, about what you're doing, how people can find you, how this process work, can you share a little
Yeah,
bit
that's a
more
great
with us?
question. Great question. So, our tech platform is called the Confident Clinician. You can find it at confidentclinicianclub.com. Lots of resources there for doctors who are exploring integrative medicine as well. So, if you're a conventional doctor who wants to practice nutrition and supplements and more integrative based medicine, but keep the standard, like keep the level of evidence you're used to practicing at, that's where you would find our actual membership platform. It includes the pricing tiers and all of the options that are available there as well. I personally hang out on LinkedIn quite a bit, sharing both sides, right? How we can support clinicians, but then also the real life around health tech entrepreneur,
Mhm.
founder life. And then I
I
actually
hang
do,
out in LinkedIn too a lot.
yeah, yeah, I love it there. I think that's a great place to connect with
Hmm,
professionals.
hmm, hmm.
I also have a pretty prolific Instagram page, which is much more casual, more behind the scenes, real life kind of piece there. But those are the three channels that are really the best to get connected with
So how
me.
they can join the Instagram? What's the name?
The Confident Clinician Club.
Okay, very good. Very good. Thank you so much, Jordan. You've been amazing. You're very
Thank you.
clever. Yeah, very clever female tech entrepreneurs. Yeah, that happen to be also a physician, right? So this is, I think, an example to follow, and we want to encourage all our female listeners, right, to follow role models like Jordan. And if you want to do your own company and you want to start your own business, we are here on a Unstoppable Podcast rooting for you 100%, and it can be done, yeah. And we definitely need more females entrepreneurs. I actually need to check the statistic, but I'm on the impression how to check. But even this podcast, okay, more males than females are coming. Yeah, so what is still reflecting that the more males are leaning to be more entrepreneurs than women, and we definitely need more female entrepreneurs. So I think that will make the world a better place. So thank you so much, Jordan, and for all of you following the broadcast. See you know what next episode on Stop how brave entrepreneur like Jordan break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.